it's slightly dangerous terrain, but I can throw one thought out. I looked into this some years ago when the statues started coming down in 2020. And there are some places where I think there was like very weird overreach, and I can understand some places where some locals might have like got resentful about that. If you go to Monument Avenue in Richmond, there are no monuments. It's just an avenue with a lot of like stone bases, on which you could put a statue at some point, but there aren't. If you're into plinths, it's a great place. Just a lovely place. And in fact, the only statue that is still there is, what's his name? Arthur Ashe, the tennis player.
Arthur Ashe?
Yeah, so there's a big statue of him. It's the only one still standing. And he's got a child kneeling there with a book, and he's got the tennis racket up. And unfortunately, it looks like he's about to beat the child. But it's just, I can...
Bill Maher, a veteran host known for his sharp wit and fearless conversations, welcomed a compelling panel that included Douglas Murray, the British author and cultural critic, for a deep dive into the forces shaping modern society. Together, they tackled issues ranging from cultural backlash against historical reckoning to the tangled realities of economic inequality and public health. The discussion exposed the underlying tensions driving today's social debates, highlighting the broader struggle between progress and tradition. Murray's incisive critiques of cultural and political shifts, paired with Maher's signature ability to challenge ideological certainty, brought layered and thought-provoking perspectives to the table. Their exchange underscored just how difficult it has become to find common ground in a deeply polarized world, while also reinforcing the importance of confronting uncomfortable truths head-on. What emerged was more than commentary on current events. It was a call for serious, informed dialogue in an era defined by division and unrest.
My point is, I can understand if I were a local, I might have got a bit annoyed about this. Yeah.
But I think it's worth remembering that the Confederacy celebrated slave owning. And these statues weren't built during the Confederacy. Sure. They were built when the Jim Crow laws were being enforced and segregation was really being enforced. So I think we need to know our history and honor our history, but I can understand how it would be tough to live in a town that is celebrating people who really thought that slavery was a great thing.
Well, everybody thought that, by the way. I mean, I agree. Now, first of all, to re-put the statue up?
No, that's
sure. Great. I mean,
But you can do what museums call retain and explain. I mean, you say we need to know our history. How are people going to know their history if there's no statues representing anything that happened except for one side? I mean, in most countries, like France, for instance, France said in 2020, the president himself said, we will take down no statues, we need to know all of our history. And that's
in
to explain
the Soviet Union, should they have kept the statues of Marx and Lenin up after Russia became a republic?
They did. I've been to them. There are lots of the former Soviet republics put all the statues in a park, for instance, where you could then go to look at them. And that's
a museum would be great.
Right, it is.
But a lot of the statues we're talking about are not explanations, they're venerations.
Sure,
celebrations.
Exactly.
And if they're celebrating, as you just spoke so eloquently to, if they're celebrating things like slavery and the Confederacy, then I think it's worth having a conversation about whether they belong.
And
one of the most heated topics centered on the restoration of Confederate names in Virginia's schools, a move that reignited national debates over historical memory and societal values. Critics see the decision as part of a broader backlash against diversity, equity, and inclusion initiatives, while supporters frame it as an effort to preserve history. Journalist Eric Schlosser pointed out that many Confederate monuments and school names were not established during the Civil War era, but rather during the Jim Crow period, intentionally used to reinforce segregation and white supremacy. Meanwhile, Douglas Murray and Bill Maher argued that historical artifacts should be preserved as educational tools, not erased, emphasizing context over glorification. The debate reflects a deeper national struggle, how to acknowledge the past without honoring ideologies rooted in oppression. Finding that balance remains one of the most divisive challenges in contemporary society.
And they were traitors.
And they were traitors.
They were traitors. This was a war against a secessionist.
But people also have to, I mean, look, there are obviously cases like that, where, like Stonewall Jackson, I don't think you particularly need to have a school named after. But, you know, don't forget in 2020, this rampage went all the way through to any high school named after Thomas Jefferson.
Right. Well, so there's a logic.
Right.
And it can get out of hand.
And it got out of hand very fast.
You were talking about what might happen with the Trump administration. I hope that we're not going to have in Monument Valley, the January 6th insurrectionists, and what was the guy with the horns? You know, statues of those rebels.
I could see.
But he will get them out of jail.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
He will pardon them.
But I mean, again, on the slavery thing, don't put up statues of traitors who supported slavery, but also teach kids the truth.
Yeah.
Slavery was a horrible thing that everybody in the world did, including people of color in other parts of the world. It's all through the Bible. Every civilization did it. They didn't even think it was wrong. There's no laws against it in the Bible. There's a lot of laws about it, and nobody ever goes, oh, maybe we should just not do it. Never crossed their mind.
Right.
Again, teach the whole story. Would be my okay. So,
Historical education emerged as a central theme throughout the discussion. The panel stressed the importance of teaching history in its full complexity, including the uncomfortable realities of slavery, systemic injustice, and institutional discrimination. Douglas Murray argued that preservation, when paired with proper context, allows societies to confront their past honestly rather than sanitize or erase it. Placing monuments and symbols in museums, for example, can transform them from objects of reverence into tools for learning. This approach promotes a deeper understanding of historical events and their lasting consequences. Effective education, the panel suggested, plays a critical role in bridging societal divides, addressing past harms, and equipping future generations with a more informed and balanced perspective.
does our tiered economy, this is for you, Frank, contribute to people's sense of grievance? Oh, yeah, that's in your book.
Yeah, no, I write a lot about that in the book. I think one of the things that's happened to us is our economy has become such an engine of envy, right? Our service economy is tiered in a fine-grained way that it never was before. When I was a teenager and I went to a rock concert, I remember getting up at 3 a.m. and going to the Hartford Civic Center, what it was called at the
Who
time.
were you seeing? I have to know.
Queen. And I'll tell you, right, but here's the thing, there were basically 3 sets of seats. There were 3 ticket prices.
Right.
And if you wanted to sit, as I did, close to the stage, I got 8th row, what you did wasn't shell out $10,000 or more as people do for one of the like 250, 350 prices for a Taylor Swift ticket. You actually went in a quasi-egalitarian way and you stood outside online. Got into the 8th row, caught Freddie Mercury's tambourine when he threw it out at the end of the show. Those were.
I still got it.
So what happens? You know, I ended up losing it over time, which is a terrible.
Suddenly
story.
it's the Kelly Clarkson show.
But you take the Taylor Swift concerts as an example, right? People are paying so many different prices, and then they are going on their social media feeds and they're posting pictures of how close to the stage they were. Sometimes it's a family of 6. You're looking at $10,000 shelled out for one evening.
Sure.
We are more aware of the people who live on the echelon above us, the echelon above them, the echelon above that. It is in our faces in social media all the time, and I think it fills us with envy and drives us apart. It's part of our grievance culture.
Yeah.
Conversation also turned toward economic inequality and the rise of grievance culture, particularly how widening wealth gaps are magnified through social media. Frank Bruni highlighted how conspicuous consumption, such as sky-high ticket prices for major concerts like Taylor Swift's, reflects a growing sense of exclusion fueled by economic stratification. Social platforms intensify these feelings by constantly showcasing luxury, access, and privilege, amplifying resentment among those shut out. This dynamic, the panel noted, deepens social division and fuels cultural discontent. Economic inequality is no longer abstract, it's constantly visible, and that visibility has real consequences for social cohesion and individual well-being. If you enjoyed this analysis and want more thoughtful conversations on cultural, social, and political issues, don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell so you never miss an update. We'd also love to hear from you. What's your perspective on historical education, economic inequality, or cultural backlash? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Your input helps drive these important discussions. Thank you for watching and for being part of our community. Your support truly means a lot, and we look forward to bringing you more engaging content soon. See you next time.